Mark Crompton, it's been a while since we've had a chat. We actually haven't spoken since the grand final last year. Now, before we look forward to 2016, let's just chat a little bit about 2015. You had a lightning start to the tour last year, 2 wins, and then I guess by comparison, the back end of your season wasn't as red hot.
No.
Overall, were you happy with your year?
I was stoked. Look, the 2 wins at the start of the year, that was never in the game plan. So, you know, I think my results at like the Hawkesbury and places like that was still the best result I'd had apart from a win. So I was really stoked with the year. I was really happy with it.
Now, usually when I chat to the guys, like I'm doing with you now, I always ask them for their high point and their low points of the year. Your high points, I assume, are your 2 wins.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Any low points from last year?
I had two. Hawkesbury, I had to finish in the top 6 to be competitive for Angler of the Year, and I had, on the last day, I had 3 fish in the bag. I had one spot where I knew I could go and get 2 fish from to just bolster that bag, and went there, pulled hooks on the first one, and the second one I dropped right at the boat, so that probably would have been enough to put me up into that top 6 position roughly. That broke my heart, and then Malakuta here, I think I was sitting in 6th, and the next day I donutted, so that was a shocker. This place haunts me.
Now, of course, we're on the eve of the first round of the Costa BREAM Series. Malakuta is where it all kicks off. Before we start talking about 2016, let's give us a little bit of history about Mark Crompton. When did you get into tournament bream fishing, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, look, I before tournament bream fishing, I was into fishing in a big way when I was younger. I started as about 6 or 7 year old fishing down at Sussex. Family had a caravan down there. You know, the family comps at Sussex, grew up doing that, you know, competing in that from a young age. And then fishing sort of took a bit of a backseat for the teenage years, you know, a few sports, bike riding and that sort of stuff. And then every time I was injured, fishing was the thing I'd be doing. So sooner or later I woke up to myself and realised I can do this and not get injured all the time, and kept doing it from about 25.
I think there's a lot of us that have had similar stories. We got into it when we were very young,
yeah,
and then we sort of drift away from it during our teenage years.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I was into surf life saving and stuff like that, but the calling of fishing, it brings you back,
always
doesn't
been
it?
there, hey.
Yeah.
It's always been there. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think the beauty of what we've got in our future now too is some of the young guys that are coming through in their 17s, 18s, and you can see they won't be able to stop now. Now that they're doing it from that age, they'll do it right till they're 35, like, you know, like I am now. So that's a scary thought.
I suppose the challenge that many tournament anglers have is burning out. They get into it and then they just gorge themselves on it, and they get a little bit burnt out. It's a matter of trying to stay in the sport as long as you can.
Yeah, and I think that's the good thing about the sport. You can drift in and out of it a little bit. You can pick and choose what comps you want to do and how serious you want to go about it, and then, you know, on top of that, how much social fishing you put in on the side. So
people seem to think when they look at the tournaments that you guys spend your whole life fishing. How many times a week would you fish?
Mate, not enough now. Work definitely takes up, you know, a lot of, like nearly all of my time. I run my own business, and yeah, to be able to get out, look, once a fortnight now is a good thing. Last year I was doing it once a week. I don't live near the water. The closest water I've got is fresh water for bass, but yeah, to be able to get the boat out and go out fishing, it's a big stretch for me now. This year I'm not going to be fishing as hard as I was last year, and that's simply because of work commitments. So
most competitive people have people that they look up to or influences within a sport. Who have been your influences over the years?
Look, I've got a couple. They're guys that we've grown up fishing down the south coast with that have really taught us a lot. Grant Kime, Stephen Gill, Wall, Balzan, just to name a few. You know, Jason Mabry. These guys have, when I first started, 2005 roughly, these guys were dominating the south coast scene, and then, you know, Stephen Gill got into the ABT sort of thing, and then all of a sudden qualified for the AFC, and those guys taught us heaps, mate, heaps. And yeah, my hat goes off to them still to today. So
now, looking forward to 2016, I'm sure you'd love to start with 2 wins again, but the reality of it, what are your goals for the year?
Look, my goals this year are realistically just to have as much fun as I've ever had. I think last year, because I had 2 wins up front, those 2 comps, I was just going wholly and solely for pushing myself to see how hard I could go and do what I could do that year, and I was having a ball doing it. After those 2 comps, work started to really kick me in the back a bit, so it got a bit harder, and then on top of that I had the pressure from that. So I think what I learned from last year is just to go out and really concentrate on having a fun time. So
now the tournament guys, you get some guys who are specialists, whether it be shallow or deep, and others are quite diverse, adept at quite a diverse range of techniques. Do you have a strength? What's your go-to?
Look, I like to think flats fishing would be my strength. I do a lot of flats fishing up our way. My eyes haven't left me yet, so I've got good visual. I can pick things out. The hearing's good, so I can pick things out sense-wise. And that seems to be, for me, the draw card to flats fishing. It's visual, it's everything. So I'd like to think flats. I don't fish too many hard bodies, but it's something that I'm really trying to mould myself to now. Mainly because of that fact I don't do it enough, and I know that, so I'd like to really get into the hard bodies a lot more. I'm
going to get you to give me 3 names. 3 names that you think will feature in the Angler of the Year this year. Now bear in mind that AOY this year, we're back to 8 events, we're off to Tassie, we've got WA. Who are 3 names within that mix that you think will do well?
Gilly's number 1. He's my pick. He's done Tassie. He's done that scene. He's gonna do a few tournaments this year, and I think he'll be he's always up there now. Hickson again, I'm not going to stop that man. I think he's on a roll and he knows it, and he'll just keep flowing with it, and good luck to him because he deserves it. Number 3, look, I'd like to see Cam Whittam have a crack at it. I'm not too sure whether he's getting down to Tassie, but I know he's really been striving for it for a long time, so yeah, I'd really like to see him get right up there. So
speaking of Tassie, are you gonna
I'm coming down. Danny and I, my wife, we're going to make a bit of a holiday of it, and getting down for the 2 rounds, and then hopefully jumping into Winnebago for another week after it, and do a bit of a Griswold run around town. So
have you done the Tassie tour before?
No, mate. We've both said, mate, I would retire there. I would move there sight unseen. Just for all the different things I've seen, the food, the wine, the sights, everything about the place just looks inviting. So really hanging to get down there.
And the fishing is special. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. You still need to be able to catch them, and you need to be able to adapt, and you need to be good at catching blacks. And not everybody who goes across is capable of doing that.
Yep.
All the best for your Tassie tour,
and
all the best for 2016. Let's hope it's as red hot as last year was.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for your time. Cheers.